partnership. My breast cancer journey actually started with my mother. My mother had breast cancer when I was about 7. That was many moons ago. I'm 58 now, and I say my age proudly because we don't all make it. So with breast cancer in the 70s, many things were completely different. So as a child, that's how I got introduced to breast cancer, right? So my mother had breast cancer. My mother was very community oriented, Head Start, we were Head Start kids, and very active in terms of community and health. So when you're 7 or 8 and your parent is so gravely ill, you don't know really what's going on. So by the time I was about 10 or 11, she had passed away. Unfortunately, which is why I wear this shirt, Black Breast Cancer is just different. This is a shirt designed by a friend of mine, Tia Tomlin, who has Breast Health Matters down in Atlanta, which I just came from in honor of Breast Cancer Month, and a couple of advocates that I'm working with. So for me, I always knew that there was something going on in my family. Most of my family has died of cancer in some form or fashion. You know, my mother was breast cancer. We don't know enough about her family because I was really young when she died, and she was also very private, which is a footnote for me to tell you, please talk to your family about your family health issues. I walked in not knowing pretty much anything about the mother side of my family, my genetics. Half of my genetics I did not know, right? Because we never spoke about it, and I was 7 or 8 when this happened, so there's maybe good reason, right? But never good reason when you're older not to know about your family history. Yes, there are cases where you're adopted or some other situation happened, of course, but you should do, and anyone who is part of that process should help you find out something about the illnesses in your family, right? So for me, fast forward, I'm in my 20s, I had a cyst. So in my 20s and 1980s, getting a mammogram was a very big deal. I had to go through many approvals and all of this, and only because I had this family history, they allowed me to do it. So 22, I get the mammogram. It was a cyst, it was benign. Excuse me. So that was great, right? So we moved forward, and in my 30s, I had genetic testing done by an oncologist who had some foresight and said, listen, your mother died of this, let's get some genetic testing, and it wasn't that popular. So she wrote my insurance, had it approved, so around 36 or so, I had the genetic testing done, which is the BRCA genes. BRCA genes, everybody has them, but the gene that causes the cancer is a mutation, right? So it's BRCA1, BRCA2. We can go into a little bit more another time, or you can do your research because we have an incredible team here to ask those questions. So in any case, so I found out at 36 I had the BRCA2 mutation, right? So what the BRCA2 mutation or that genetic testing did is tell me at a certain time the likelihood of. So the likelihood of me developing breast cancer between the ages of 51 and 76 was about 91%, right? So, and also makes you a little bit, in some cases a lot, but let's just go with enough, more likely to have other cancers or possibly other cancers, ovarian, stomach, and pancreatic. So with this knowledge, a lot of people don't want to know, but I want to know. I want to know. A lot of times we want to, it's like I don't want to hear, I don't want to see, I just don't know it, because you can deal with it. So then fast forward, we've taken some leaps around 50, 49, I'm noticing these symptoms. Oh my goodness, menopause, oh what a bleep, menopause, oh these hot flashes, they're killing me. Oh my goodness, the joy of womanhood's not, right? So at that point, I go to my doctor, all these things are creeping up all the time, and it turns out that what I thought was menopause was now lupus, right? So in January, it was lupus. By the time March hit, because I'm on top of all my screenings, right? Because when did I have my diagnosis in terms of that BRCA? I'm 36. So I wasn't missing my mammographies. Plus, I was on what they call a surveillance. So I had a mammography, I had an ultrasound, and an MRI. So within 3 or 4 months of each of these, I would know if something was going on. So by the time I'm 51, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 1, and lupus, and fibromyalgia. So let's just say it was a hot mess in my house, right? So given those diagnoses, and particularly breast cancer, when you hear that, that's the thing that they run for, because that's the thing they want to catch earlier. So because I was because I was diagnosed with stage 1, but I had all these other conditions, I curated my care team, meaning I selected my doctors based on how I know I am. 1, I love acupuncture, Chinese medicine, and I'm a minimalist when it comes to medication, right? So I know me, right? So it's not that I'm not going to do what they're asking me to do, but we have to have a conversation, because I am the CEO of my body. You are the CEO of yours, right? So we have these conversations. And my team was like, well, we could do this. We could do a radical mastectomy. We can do this. No, we're going to go minimal, right? Because it's stage 1. I know the BRCA. I read it too. You read it to me. We're good, right? But this is how I'd like to do things. So we agreed on that. I didn't have radiation. I didn't have chemo, right? I was fortunate because in my case, that worked for me. So since 2016, I've been cancer-free. I work with Share Cancer Support. Thank you. For many years ago, I was a chef for Mayor Dinkins, and I was doing these culinary demonstrations for people who had cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. So at that time, many years ago, I was a consultant for Share. Share had an office in my oncologist's office. They had an office inside. So full circle moment, I'm diagnosed with breast cancer. Share happened to have an office right there. I had already been a consultant with them many years before. So by the time I had my diagnosis, I walked right into something familiar who had a bunch of resources. So then they asked me to be an ambassador, and I'm a coordinator. And so this is what we do. So feel free to ask questions. We have a goodie bag for you. How many survivors are here? Okay, thank you so much. Now we're going to give you, if you could just sign here, we're going to give you a goodie bag. But I also, if you can, just take a picture, and we have a pillow that is given to us by someone who donated pillows, a small pillow for women who are having pain, particularly after breast cancer. So if it doesn't apply to you, please give it to someone if you like them. If not, use it in any kind of discomfort that you might find it will apply to. So thank you so much.
Thank you.